Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start early because I have had no interest in this hangout. So I'm going to send out some invites, and if they show up, that will be great. And if they don't, that's cool too. So I'm going to look up G-Webs. I'm going to look up Mickey Mouse. Let's see, who else can I invite? How about speak? You'll have to excuse me because I am doing this off the cuff. It has been a long time since I have done this, and typing invites as we go. So, anyway, what my goal is for this hangout is to remember the servicemen who lost their lives on July 16th, 2015. And go to my article here on the web page where I have notes from earlier today. And I'm going to go to the article while I'm waiting on people to show up. Hopefully they will show up. If they don't, that's fine. I'm going to reference the article from the Chattanooga Times Free Press regarding the 2015 terror attack on Chattanooga, Tennessee. And what I thought I would do is just start out by actually mentioning the names of the soldiers, the servicemen who lost their lives. And if you go to the article that I have got placed on gunsandgearvids.com called July 16th, 2015, Never Forget, you'll see there that I have a photograph of the five who lost their lives, and they are Navy Petty Officer, Second Class Randall Smith. He was 26 years old. Sergeant Carson A. Holmquist. He was 25 years old. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan. He was 40 years old. Lance Corporal Squire D. Skip Wells, 21. Staff Sergeant. Skip was 21 years old, and Staff Sergeant David Wyatt was 35 years old. Under that, you'll see I've shown pictures of the responding officers because I think they helped save lives. And they are Chattanooga police officers Kevin Flanagan, Jeff Lancaster, Sean O'Brien, Lucas Timmons, Grover Wilson III, and Dennis Pettigo, who was actually wounded in the action where they responded to the call. So, at that point, I would like to direct attention to the timeline. Excuse me, I think I have some lingering issues with pollen. I don't think I got stung enough by my bees before they were run out of their hive by wax moths. But anyway, um, what my intention is here is to just provide a video that on an annual basis will remind people of the terror attack in Chattanooga, Tennessee, by the perpetrator. I will not mention his name. I will not give him the credibility or the notoriety that he was wanting. I'm going to call him the perpetrator, the perp, as law enforcement would call him. But I do want to recognize the people who died and those who responded. So after that, which I've just completed, I would like to move on to the timeline, just give the story. I think what needs to be done in cases like this is that the story just needs to be told really over and over again so that it is not forgotten. So many times, what happens is that the these stories get forgotten. Let me go to the YouTube side. One thing I forgot to do. It's been, and you'll have to forgive me. It's been so long since I've done a YouTube hangout, like a year. I did like 52 straight hangouts for repealgunlaws.com. That turned out to be a fiasco, honestly. And so I gave up hangouts. I thought I was retired from them. Let me go to the YouTube side. But I'm trying to become more optimistic in my old age and return to the hangout. Let's see, where is it? I'm trying to find it. Maybe I should just go to my own website and find it there. This sucks. Okay. So that's what I expected. I expected to come to Hangout, to the Hangout side, to the YouTube side, and get lots of trolls, and that's fine. So I will ignore, for the most part, the YouTube side because most likely the YouTube side is filled full of hate for what is right, and thankfully those comments, those temporary comments, will go away um, like like a bad day. They will go away like a bad day. So I'm going to go back to what I was going to do in the first place, and that is look at the timeline of that day. Um, when I first heard of what was happening, I was actually on my way to a lumber company where I trade. It was earlier in the day, and I heard about the happening, the event on talk radio, my local talk radio, and so I thought, okay, I'm headed there to the lumber store, which is only a couple of miles away, and it's going to be blocked off. But to my surprise, the road just before, um, just as I arrived to where I was going to turn, there was a roadblock, and I was able to continue on my way to the lumber company. But I'm trying to find the article now and go back. So what I'm reading from now is the timeline of July 16th. This is from the Times Free Press about the article, about the event. These are the moments 6 officers who rushed to stop the July 16th terrorist attack will never forget. Moments they can't wipe from their memory. Moments when time slowed to a crawl and they thought that they may not make it out alive. as they tried to stop 24-year-old Mohammed Youssef Abdulazeez rampage. The officers descended on the U.S. Naval and Marine Reserve Center on Amnicola Highway from all over the city that day. On Monday, they spoke with the Times Free Press about their experience after the police department released the names of the men who killed Abdulazeez and officially ruled they were justified in using deadly force. Well, duh. Okay. So just before 11 on July 16th, Officer Sean O'Brien got the call of a shooter while parked at the police service center on Amnicola Highway. That was actually the highway that I was on, headed towards the lumber store. He took off north toward the military recruiting center on Lee Highway, where Abdulazeez began his attack. But as he reached the Coca-Cola plant, yes, that is the Coca-Cola plant on Amnicola Highway in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Abdulazeez sped past O'Brien in a rented Mustang convertible headed south toward the reserve. O'Brien did a U-turn and followed. Abdulazeez initially drove past the entrance to the reserve, then swung around, pulled in, and crashed through the green gate. I've been to this gate myself, and I wonder how this Mustang actually made it through that gate. But that's another story. Continuing on with the article, he jumped from the Mustang and started shooting immediately. He disappeared from sight. Worried the convertible was rigged to explode, O'Brien, this is a police officer from the Chattanooga Police Department, O'Brien pulled to a stop about 70 yards back and retrieved his police rifle. As he did, officers Grover Wilson, Jeff Lancaster, Kevin Flanagan, Lucas Timmons, and Dennis Padego arrived together. They moved toward the sound of the rifle fire. The gunshots came from a fenced motor pool behind the main brick building. Wilson and Lancaster rounded the brick building on the side closest to Amnicola Highway and took cover behind an air conditioning unit around the back of the building, between the building and the motor pool fence. The other four officers were close behind, but Abdulazeez suddenly opened fire. As we approached, the gunshots sounded like they were a distance away, Timmons said. Timmons was one of the Chattanooga police officers. And then all of a sudden, the gunshots were right there in front of us. As the sound changed, I thought I might not be going home to see my family tonight. As Abdulazeez began to shoot, the group on the side of the building scattered, looking for cover. Timmons moved left, closest to the building. Flanagan went right, ducking behind the only car in the parking lot. When I moved for cover, I saw one of the servicemen, and he literally looked straight through me, Flanagan said, speaking slowly. He had a facial expression like, "Please help me." His hands, he was just in shock. Flanagan planned and spotted Abdulazeez running at them at the far side of the fence motor pool, firing. He and others opened fire. Padego and O'Brien were caught in the open, and Padego went down, shot in the leg. Padego is a Chattanooga police officer. I fell down. Bullets were hitting around us, Padego said. When I got hit, I really wasn't worried about it. I knew that the people I was with would help me, that they were going to take care of what was going on. I just knew I was in no man's land and was trying to find a place to get cover. O'Brien and another officer, Detective Jennifer McCoy, I just realized I don't have a picture of Jennifer. on my picture collage there. Jennifer McCoy pulled Pettigo out of the line of fire as rifle fire resonated. Time seemed to slow down. O'Brien heard 2 rounds whiz past his left ear. He made eye contact with Abdulazeez, and he never forgot the smug face, O'Brien said, as Abdulazeez shot at Pettigo, Flanagan, O'Brien, and Timmons, who were all bunched on the side of the reserve building, parallel to Anacola Highway. He was also running away from the officers and toward Wilson and Lancaster, tucked behind the air conditioning unit on the rear of the building. They jumped out and shot at him amid aiming through the motor pool's fence. Wilson's rifle jammed. He unjammed it, put in a new magazine, and kept firing. Abdulazeez was essentially caught between the two groups of officers. Somewhere in there he went down, and he came in front of us. As he came in front of us, Wilson said. You'll have to excuse me, I'm tired. This is me talking now. I'm tired, I've been working today. It's been a long day, I'm trying to go through this timeline. So basically the whole exchange lasted between 3 and 5 minutes. 5 months later, the officers, all veterans with at least 8 years experience on the force, are still dealing with it today. This is from the article that I've listed. I didn't go through the whole thing, but it's there in the link. What I'm trying to do is bring attention to the event. I realize that blah blah blah. Okay. Well, we have lots of trolls in the comments, but I have faith. What's really cool is that in the comments on the YouTube side, they will all go away. Guess what? You are all insignificant except John Smith and Yankee 4. You guys are great. But the other people really can go to hell. Let's see. George Geller. George Geller says, no hate here. Thank you. This BH Bahamic, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, dumb, fat ass redneck. Hick, you don't know shit. You sound like an ignorant fuck. Chew tobacco. You see, this is the response that you get when you try to document history, the history of terrorism in the United States and around the world. This hangout has no significance at all, and I realize that. There will be very few views on this hangout, but guess what? It gives me the satisfaction that at least I tried to bring attention to the event on its anniversary, and hopefully the people that care will go back and they'll look at the links, they'll look at the history, they'll think about the men who died. They'll look at the people, the police officers who responded, and put their lives on the line. They'll think about why weren't the servicemen allowed to carry weapons to defend themselves, which I think now, especially in Tennessee, they are able to at least carry a sidearm because of this. So there will be a lot of positive things come out of this. Obviously, right now, when you're looking at this live, there are lots of hate, lots of ignorant people in the comments on the YouTube side, which I'm going to continue to ignore, and that's okay. But if anybody wants to, let's see, one thing I forgot to do is, what did I forget to do? I forgot to put the live link. Let's see. One thing I forgot to do because it has been so long since I've done a hangout, I forgot to figure out how do to provide the link to join for people. Here it is. So if you want to join, share permanently. Yeah, here we go. What you want to do is go to gunsandgearvids.com. Trying to do my administrative duties at the same time as I'm doing a live hangout. I'm going to copy this. You'll have to excuse me for a second. Because I'm trying to update the link that people can join with, and that has to be done while I'm rambling. I'm copying my password, my administrative password, so now the hackers can come after me. I'm looking for the module that has the link in it. Going to the left position. Looking for Hangout tonight. Okay, so here we go. To join. That's bad. I would like to think that I was not hacked in the process. Here we go. So if I go back here and I go to, oh man, cancel this, close. You're just going to have to bear with me for a second. So, mass confusion here in the Hangout. So if I want to embed this, I have to replace the copy. Two hundred 50 pixels. 250 pixels. I get to listen to me ramble while it's the iframe. And then I go back. copy the Hangout link. I'll place that right here. Let's see if that works. Now, if you go to gunsandgearvids.com, you should be able to find a link. If you go to gunsandgearvids.com right now, you should find a link that will get you to actually be able to join the Hangout. So I'll probably be on for another, 15 or 20 minutes. And if nobody joins, we'll call it quits. So close. Because I know that I'm not the most popular YouTuber, and I'm not going to draw a big crowd or whatever. And all I'm trying to do is bring attention to these brave men who gave their lives. And let's see, save. That's my goal. And hopefully my once this hangout becomes a video on YouTube, that people will see the links. They will go and read the story and read it. It will present itself better than I can with my Southern Tennessee accent. But if you go now to gunsandgearvids.com, you'll see a link just above the, or just below the thing that says Hangout tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can copy that link and you can join. We can have a conversation and maybe we can salvage this thing. Otherwise, I'm just going to end it and call it something. Not a failure, but not a success. Let's go see what the YouTube side is saying. Are there any? Let's go to YouTube. The danger of this kind of thing going live is that you'll do it by yourself and you'll be hung out there on a limb. Let's see, live streaming. You'll be caught rambling because you're trying to find people. And let's go to the YouTube side. So, you know what? One person I've always appreciated is, well, first of all, let me go back through the comments. And I know Yankee Bobby has always been supportive. Thank you, Bobby. Urban Huff has a positive. Anybody that says hey has to be a cool guy. George Geller, hey folks. There's Bobby again. John Smith. John Smith has always provided some really good comments. If you go back probably, 8, 10 years, 6 years, whatever, you'll see John Smith commenting on my videos. He always has intelligent, positive comments, and I have actually learned a lot from him by reading his comments and going back and researching the information that he has provided, and it always turns out to be good stuff. And There's Mac Daddy, 1911. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Swamp Fox. Thank you. Tyler P77. Thank you. Alicia Robinson. Oh wow, so boring. So we can only imagine that she um, that's probably not her actual name, but uh, most likely a negative commenting name, a negative commenting persona on Google Plus created to um, put down positive thinking people, uh, conservative people, freedom loving people. Um, yeah, it's boring, Alicia. Yeah, it's boring. So, my question is, why are you here? Why are you not watching Justin Bieber videos? You know, Britney Spears, she has great videos, or the Kardashians, they have great content. You know, go watch. Or there's lots of drama on the top YouTube channels. On YouTube, they have lots of. You go to the trending YouTube channels, they have lots of great drama you can watch. So, Alicia Robinson, you were in the wrong place. You somehow ended up on the wrong channel. So, while you, I hope your son is not watching, no need to expose him to the language. Well, you know what? Speaking, Barrett just texted me, going good. Right, Barrett, you're always, my son, Barrett, is such, he and Alex are the best sons that a father could ever wish for. They are highly intelligent beings. Um, they expose themselves as highly intelligent beings through their love and through their music. And no, they actually do have good things to do and more exciting things to do than listen to their old man rant, you know, which but I'm so happy they are the next great generation and not you, Alicia Robinson. You know, whoever the people are. There's so many. I say it to Barrett and Alex on a daily basis that there's so much negativity on YouTube that it's actually a job. It's actually more of a job to put your content on YouTube because of the negativity that's there than anything else. That is the number one hindrance um, of a decent YouTuber. There are plenty of YouTubers who have, get millions of views and have hundreds of thousands of subscribers who make money. That's their motivation. Obviously, I don't make any money on YouTube. My motivation is really, it's, well, first of all, it's a hobby for me. I like making videos. I like making um, film projects. It's something I love doing. Um, but most of all, I just love bragging about our country, and I'm just an old softy when it comes to patriotism, and I'm obviously a Second Amendment lover, and that honestly just annoys the hell out of liberals. So um, now, in the gun community, you have lots of gun loving liberals. So, you will see them pop their heads up on just about every video of mine and everybody else's that produces videos. So, this generation of YouTube sucks, honestly. So much. Yes, yes. Um, Derp. Derpalicious. This is exactly true. I'm looking at the YouTube comments side. It's exactly true. Um, this generation on YouTube, um, well, I'm not going to say the whole. When you say this generation, it's the generation that buys into the Bernie or Hillary mentality or the Obama mentality, um, any sort of left of center mentality that big government is is cool. You need that big government to help you through the day, help your life. You know, it, it's just. But on the other side of that, you have um, people on YouTube who are desperate. Um, I don't know. I'm going off into an area now that I'm going off on a tangent that really I didn't want to go to. So I was really hoping by now that it's 9 o'clock. I started about 30 minutes early. I thought that maybe some people would join in as guests and they would have comments. Um, I can see that I didn't actually expect that because it was sort of a spur of the moment thing, and I didn't plan it very well. And like I said, my original goal was just to bring attention to what happened on July 16th, 2015, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and honor the people who died that day. Those people, who were enlisted in our military uh, for no other reason but to provide freedom for us, the regular civilians who enjoy the freedom that they provide for us on a daily basis that we take for granted. And honestly, uh, they actually provide the freedom for idiots to troll YouTube. So those people who are, I'm looking at now who provide, who are, who, who are the negative side of YouTube and society as a whole in our country, you are actually provided the opportunity to do that from these guys who died on July 16th, 2015, and all of the other people in our service, Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, our entire military um, does provide you with this opportunity to uh, be yourself, uh, even as negative as you are. You are only able to do this freely because of them, which is the irony, which is an irony in itself, um, that you know that you're able to troll YouTube because you have the freedom, because you have the First Amendment uh, to back you. So hope that, I don't know, that won't give you any uh, solace or me, but it's just a fact. So anyway, short of anyone joining, which is there's a link on gunsandgearvids.com on the left hand side underneath the picture that where I've placed the servicemen who lost their lives and the Chattanooga police officers who responded. Under that is a link to join. If there's no one that joins in probably a few more minutes, I'll end this. And hopefully I can have made a point. Probably not, because I'm tired from working. I'm just a human, and let's see. Let me look. It is very boring. I agree. It's so boring. I'm boring myself, and maybe I did not accomplish my goal. But it's just YouTube, right? In real life, I'm a successful design build contractor, so I don't have to worry about it too much. But I would have wished that I could have somehow brought attention to these men who died on that day. Navy Petty Officer Second Class Randall Smith, he was 26 years old. Sergeant Carson A. Holmquist, he was 25 years old. Gunnery Sergeant Thomas J. Sullivan was 40 years old. You know, he wasn't a new timer. Lance Corporal Squire D. Skip Wells, 21. Sergeant Staff David Wyatt was 35 years old. So, no matter what you say about me, um, no matter what you think about me or how I present myself or how I made this video or whatever, these men, uh, these men provided the ultimate. These men served their country. They gave everything. They What can you say? There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing that this channel can say or do. You know, all you can do is look at it for what it is. Look at what is becoming, what is coming. Look at what our country is becoming, and think about who you are voting for. Think about why you're voting. Think about who you might be defeating if you're voting. Think about the fact that if you vote, will your vote count? Are you defeating the person? Are you defeating those who will continue the current policies? Are you going to vote? Uh, even, like me, I'm going to vote for someone who was not my first choice, but at least he's not the worst choice. And this was not a hangout about the election, but sorry, I'm flipping through here looking at the links that I've sent and trying to figure out who else I can send to. Looking back at the YouTube comments, where is the memorial service in town? There was a memorial service today in Chattanooga somewhere. I think it was near the Naval Center where it happened. That was a question. Um, if you do a Google search, you'll see also that there's all kinds of things going on. There's murals that have been placed in places throughout the city. There are different events that have been created to memorialize the people who died. Let's see. Rise 303 just got here. You're not boring to me. Thank you. I'm boring myself, so I must be boring to other people. But it's difficult, when you're not a professional speaker. to continue to speak and capture people's, attention or imagination. But I'm not here for me. I'm here for just to bring attention to this happening because I know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that this force, this evil force, which is radical Islam, will continue to attack us on our own soil and abroad. People, innocent people, people who believe in freedom. You see that because people who have freedom are highly envied by those people who are enslaved by ideology. So you can understand why there's so much hate for people who are free, um, because they are not told what to do and what to think. There's no one telling me on a daily basis what to do or what to think, but the people who are attacking us and who are killing innocent people are told what to think and what to do on a daily basis. And this person who created this heinous crime on July 16, 2015, was told what to do. He made several trips to Saudi Arabia. He was told uh, in their system of synagogues or their mosques. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say synagogue. That was a reference to Judaism, which is the most farthest thing from the truth. I meant to say mosques. The mosques are the local, in your town, the mosques are the local communication centers where the imams tell the local soldiers what to do. And we as free people are not told what to do on a daily basis, but those people who are told will have you think we are told by, through some sort of, where we are supposedly told what to do through subliminal, messages through capitalism or commercialism. They are directly told what to do through the mosque and the imams. They are given the instructions and when to act and so forth. So, uh, I, you know, I think I would rather continue, even if it is true that I'm subliminally told. I can resist that probably easier than a direct message. And of course, I'm not being supplied money and arms to do this, whatever I'm told subliminally, supposedly. Anyway, I'm getting off into a tangent. George Keller, my wife tells me what to do. That's funny. That brings us all back. You know what, though? In America, we love doing what our wives tell us to do because you know what? Our wives don't tell us to go out and behead people, right? They don't tell us to go kill innocent people. Our wives tell us to take out the garbage and to mow the yard, which are innocent, loving things. They ask us why, we haven't done this or that, but it's because that is supporting a family, right? The wife is the bedrock of the American family, and we love our wives, we love our children, we love our families, and that's why we, in a jokingly way, do do what our wives tell us to do as men. Real men do what their wives ask them to do because we love them. We don't treat them like property as the enemy treats them. We don't ask our wives to cover themselves, cover their faces. We don't ask them to be subhumans. We don't tell them they can't be educated. We don't tell them they can't drive. We don't tell them they can't be intelligent. Well, we love them. We cherish our wives. And therefore, we joke about them telling us what to do because they are equal to us, and we. I'm sorry. Uh, since, since I've been married so long, it's funny. That it's actually makes me laugh because that 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 is the love that we feel for our wives. We give them that love and that credit and that honor, and that's why we do what we do for them. How about the 28 pages released yesterday? 9/11 Commission reporting incriminating Saudi Arabian leadership. Yeah, what about that? And why did Mohammed Abdulazeez take a trip to Saudi Arabia? And when he came back, I don't know, some years later, why did he make a trip with guns and kill people? That's a good question. And why is that 28 pages so? Uh, why is it so important that remains secret to the American people? That's a good question. Baconing time. Sometimes I wish Anonymous was like totally on our side. You know, it's funny because sometimes, you know, the reason I say that is because, you know, it would be cool if we had a group like Anonymous who were smart enough to hack all this, you know, provided to us. Um, but they have such internal um, conflict among themselves. You know, half of the Anonymous is you know conservative, and the other half is liberal, and they can't decide. You know, you'll see one story where they're releasing emails that buck you know the global warming, like they released all the emails that damned the research, you know, the emails between the scientists talking about the data that that did not support global warming or whatever. Um, and then on the other hand, you'll see, you know, something that supports liberalism. So it would be kind of cool. And I say this off the top of my head. It's a knee jerk reaction that it would be kind of cool if we had an organization like Non that would just continue to support freedom thinking, free people, you know, and not not bounce back and forth between the two ideologies, which it seems to me that they do. Maybe it's just that they're so you know they have different camps. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I can't keep up with Anonymous and everybody else at the same time. I have a hard enough time keeping up with uh, my projects that I have to do on a daily basis here in Chattanooga. But because I'm obviously just like everybody else, a working person um, who's just trying to live in our country that's supposedly free, and you know, it it's hard to make time every day. I remember when I started repealgunlaws.com, I felt this weight. You know, we would meet. You know, we did like 52 um, in a row, 52 hangouts in a row in a year, and we came up with all these cool ideas. You know, and we were going to do all these great things, and we were going to repeal gun laws. And I finally gave up because I realized that you know people are accustomed to a certain amount of laws. You know, they've become so um, uh, what's the word? I don't know. What is the word? We've become so programmed to accept certain amounts of laws, and as an experiment, when I first started repealgunlaws.com, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to say my goal is to repeal every gun law. There won't be any gun laws. That would be the goal. And you would be surprised at how many people said, "Oh no," they bucked the idea. They were like, "Oh, God, no! We gotta have some gun laws." And I was like, "Well, which ones do you want to keep?" You know, and they were like, "I don't know, but we have to have some gun laws. We can't just go crazy. We can't just say that the Second Amendment really means what it means, and that is we have the right to bear arms. We can't do that because why?" And I would say, "Well, why not, Mister Gun Lover?" And it turned out that a lot of people, I think, discovered through that process that they were themselves gun loving, you know, either Democrats or liberals, in that they agreed with a certain amount of, you know, uh, they were they were willing to accept a certain amount of a certain loss of freedom for security, and we keep forgetting, Ben Franklin. Uh, we keep forgetting the great wisdom of our forefathers who warned us against giving up freedom for security, and that there's a dream, there's a false security there where we give up security, or we give up freedom for a certain amount of security, but that security is a false sense of security, as we see when this terrorism comes to your town, to your backyard, like it came to my backyard. You will see that no, there's no amount of freedom that you should give up for security, and that's a lesson you can't learn until you've lived it. Until the terrorism comes to your backyard, and you realize that you've given up the ability to be armed, like you see in California and New York, other states, when those voters have accepted, and those laws lie strictly on the voters of those states, and that's why I don't cry for the people of New York or California or you know Illinois or whatever. I don't I don't cry for them because they they have decided their own fate. The voters of the state of California have decided their own fate, in New York likewise. They have decided they are willing to give up certain amounts of freedom for security. Which is a false security. And so we'll see going forward how false that sense is when we realize that there's nothing you can do uh, uh, ultimately to prevent terrorism. All you can do is have certain measures in place on an ongoing basis to fight it. So, do we have any more comments on? Let me refresh the YouTube side. No comments. We have 12 watching. That's not bad. I was really hoping someone would come and join me. Um, it's funny because last couple of days, I get this allergy mess at the beginning of April and May, and then it clears up. But the last couple of days, it's almost like it has returned, and so I get all stopped up in my nose. I'm kind of a nasally person anyway, but when the allergies happen, it kind of compounds it, and it just clogs up the old airways in the brain. Brain cells follow when when the oxygen is depleted, the brain cells don't work too well. So anyway, it is 9:30, and I was really hoping someone would join us live. Is there anyone who wants to go to a challenge? Anybody at all, to go to gunsandgearvids.com and copy that link where it says link to join. Will be here tonight. Right under that, it says https ://hangouts.google.com. Blah, blah, blah. There's a link there. You can post that, copy and paste it in your browser. You can join us. I'm over there, but I don't have much to contribute. Oh, come on, George, you can do it. No, you think you don't have anything to contribute? Look at me. I'm just rambling away. So if I can do it, you can do it. I remember back in the day when we would do this. If you go and look at my Hangouts playlist, one night I had, who did I have? I had all kinds of big time YouTubers, and I called the Hangout, when the stars aligned or something like that, if you search it. And I had, I don't know, a bunch of people. But that was back kind of in the heyday of the Hangout. And there weren't so many YouTube. Well, I guess there were YouTubers that had big brands, but now everybody's so worried about their brand. I gotta be concerned about my brand on YouTube, and I've got so many subscribers. I got a producer and an editor, and I'm working on getting 1 million subscribers and 1 million views, and I can't do this kind of crap. I just can't go to the small time YouTuber hangouts. It will ruin my brand. So anyway, the I guess I'm out of things to say. Let's see, we haven't had a terrorist attack. George Geller says we haven't had a terrorist attack in my city, but we did train a pair of 9/11 hijackers at our local flight school. Well, we're not going to hold that against you, George, because in those days, we were still sort of ignorant. I mean, honestly, now, if you're a government official and you're not aware that people, refugees might be terrorists, or people crossing your border might be terrorists, and you're just an idiot. But back in um, when 9/11 happened, we were still honestly sort of, I'm going to say, a little naive to that kind of thing. I don't think I remember those days. We didn't exactly think we had a bunch of, you know, it kind of took people by surprise. I wouldn't. Um, I'm just saying now, you know, there's no excuse now that we know people are coming across our border, you know, with the intent to hurt us. Now, especially, um, if we don't realize that, we're just being negligent, you know. So that's right. Before 9/11, terrorism was something that happened in the Middle East. That's right. We thought that only, you know, the radicals in the Middle East wanted to wipe off Israel from the face of the map. Who knew they had the ability to plan such an attack on our country and come here and actually, uh, to do it? The thing about 9/11 that scared me so much was that I was working as a project manager for an architecture firm. Um, yeah, it's funny. I used to be an associate. I was about a year away from becoming a partner at an architecture firm. I know I speak kind of southern Tennessee, but I did have some decent experience in architecture, and I almost became a partner in a firm. And one thing they did was send me to Boston to take this project management boot camp from this organization called PSNJ. You can look it up. There were, back then, and about 6 months before 9/11, I was actually on a flight to Boston. Excuse me, that's allergies, not emotions. Um, and later, when I came back, there were reports that, you know, um, that was Logan International Airport. Later, there were reports that they were actually taking like practice flights, or they were checking out flights from there. And of course, I do remember seeing people, with turbans or whatever, and thinking, oh, wow, were those people checking out, whatever. I remember those thoughts. Probably weren't legitimate or true, but I just remember being on that plane to Boston, 3 or 4, 6 months before for work, and we were sitting in a meeting on 9/11 at that architecture firm, and the secretary, the office administrator, came in and said, "You guys got to come to the TV now. Something's going on." And yes, they were dry runs. That's what I understood at the time. I didn't know it at the time, obviously, but there were lots of people. And of course, that's an international airport, so you do see people of different cultures there, So I'm not going to say I'm not going to claim that I saw the hijackers. I'm not going to do that. But there were people from different cultures on the plane when I went to Boston. When I went to, 6 months before that for a project management boot camp. And Beeper Man, talked to my brother yesterday. He lives in Ooltewah. He is saying people in that area haven't forgotten and are holding rallies to remember the attack. Yeah, Ooltewah is just really like a suburb of Chattanooga. We actually have a project there in Ooltewah. That's exit 11, just right outside of Chattanooga. And that's cool. Um, I'll have to look that up, see what's going on. But it's funny because I remember it's not funny, but I don't know if you guys remember a video that I did was it the day after the attacks, or it had to be within a week of the attack here in Chattanooga on the 16th of July last year. I was all mad. I was all, puffed up and mad because I had done this SketchUp, um, design, a memorial design, because I knew the area and I knew of a big field where this, memorial could be placed. And it was a big carving, a big granite carving of all of the people who died, the servicemen, and I was all puffed up, and thinking, why don't? Because I had called the local. There's a local guy named Kevin West. He's a lieutenant commander in the Navy, I think. He's actually in Afghanistan right now, serving on a mission. I'm pretty sure it's. I'm not sure if it's to kick Taliban butt or ISIS butt, but anyway, he's there in Afghanistan right now. I called him up and I was like, "Hey, dude, what's going on? You know, aren't there gonna, why aren't we talking about memorials?" And he was like, "Oh, well, there's a group. There's it's kind of this group in Chattanooga that runs things, right?" And I was all mad because I couldn't get the inside track on who it was, and he wouldn't tell me who it was, and I couldn't get my information and to them, and I was just mad. I was just mad about it. But if you go back and look, you'll see my design, and it took me a few days to get over the fact that I'm just a little peon in Chattanooga, and nobody, why would anybody listen to me in the first place? But when you're upset and that kind of thing, you think you're more important than you are, you know that kind of thing. But anyway, I've got a video on that SketchUp design that I did, and but turns out that there were people, the movers and shakers in Chattanooga were thinking, and they can't be connected to everybody in Chattanooga. I mean, there are like 300,000 people here, I think, and so there are lots of memorial services and dedications, and you know uh, actual memorials. Like if you do a search for murals and that kind of thing, and foundations, you'll see that those have all been set up to help the families of those who died. They will all be getting um, college scholarship college scholarship funds, and even Peyton Manning, who has property here in Chattanooga. I know he's a big Knoxville guy, UTK guy, but he has some. I think he actually has a farm here in Chattanooga. He contributed to the fund, so there's lots of stuff going on. It's funny because when you're on YouTube and you get you get a decent number of subscribers, you think you're popular enough to where you can say something and people will listen. But really, YouTube is such a small thing in the big scheme of life. And nobody in Chattanooga really knows about artist Tony. They know about artists in construction, maybe, because I've built a lot of homes here, for different customers. But when I say a lot for us is, two custom homes a year, because I don't like doing a lot of little. I like putting a lot of attention into homes, so I don't do any spec houses. I only do custom stuff where I can work with individuals. So even on the professional side, I'm not that well known. So you kind of get the humility comes. You get a lesson in humility. Uh, from time to time, when you think you may have an opinion that counts. you know, it's kind of funny. I can laugh now. Back then I was like, "Hey, why aren't you listening to? Why is this not happening today? Why are we not pouring concrete? Why is there no one chiseling this granite sculpture out that I've got designed? All puffed up and that kind of thing." But anyway, whatever. You know, whatever. I do want to thank the people who have participated in gunsandgearvids.com. That was sort of, was it sort of? It was something I wanted to do after I gave up on repealgunlaws.com. By the way, I kind of went off on a rant on repealgunlaws.com a few minutes ago, and I meant to say that what happened to just an example of why I got frustrated was the National Hearing Protection Act has been stuck in a committee for like a year, and my question is why would an appliance like a suppressor that's that's can't be proven to have you know improved the lives of criminals everywhere? Why is that such a dangerous appliance, and why is it still on the NFA list, and why can't we get it? You know, why is that bill still stuck in committee? It's because honestly, we're all just conditioned to a certain amount of gun laws. That's a good example. That's the perfect example of where maybe it's more advantageous for capitalism or the those in commercialism to for the silencer, the suppressor to remain. I call it a silencer because that's what they refer to it as in the legislation. Maybe that's more advantageous for manufacturers to remain on the NFA list because that keeps the value up. These are the kind of things I was saying back when we were doing hangouts with repealgunlaws.com, and it wasn't so popular that I was saying these things. So I started gunsandgearvids.com as sort of a way, honestly, I just assumed that since we weren't going to repeal gun laws, that we should at least start to have fun, and that when I was a kid, owning firearms was fun. It was it wasn't something that was all serious like it is today. When you grow up in Tennessee, Southeast Tennessee, you got a shotgun, you got a 22 rifle, you go hunting, you go fishing, you go camping. It's just part of your lifestyle. It's not serious. It's not something that's tactical or serious, or you weren't browbeaten if you didn't have training in that. There was no gun culture to browbeat the gun community. There was no gun community versus gun culture. There was no really internet. We played in the woods. We shot our 22s, our shotguns, our M1 carbines. I had an M1 carbine that I would go frog gigging with when my friends would take sticks and poke at them. I would shoot them with my M1 carbine. They would laugh at me because there was nothing left of the frog to eat. And I would say, I don't like frogs. I don't like eating them. You can have whatever's left over. But the point is that, you know, back in the day, and I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but I guess I'm known for getting on tangents. That owning a gun was, you know, it it. I wanted to make it fun again, so I gave up on repealgunlaws.com, which was getting too serious. It was being taken over by people who were way too serious about it, and who necessarily thought who they were the same people who thought we should have a certain amount of gun laws, but not others, and it got too sticky for them. The goal of repealing all gun laws got way too sticky for them. So I thought I'm giving up on this, and I want to go to something that's more fun. And when gunsandgearvids.com was born, I wanted it to be a video sharing website for people who could post videos where they didn't have to worry about YouTube censoring. Which reminds me today, believe it or not, YouTube censored my announcement for this hangout because all I did was announce that I was having a hangout um, about the terror attack in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Apparently, the all knowing Big Brother algorithm that is YouTube and Google uh, flagged my video title apparently and said it was under review. If you look on my Instagram, you'll see a screenshot where it shows that it's under review. So, another example of something that you will never see on gunsandgearvids.com, and that will be under review for Second Amendment issues or patriotic issues or actually any issue as long as it's not uh, impeding someone else's freedom. There will be no censorship there. You can upload videos there. They don't have to be embedded, so that, but you can embed your YouTube videos there if you want to. They don't have to be, but if you want to upload videos in gunsandgearvids.com that you have, say, questionable content. I know one example is that one day I was talking, I was doing a vlog, and I accidentally had the radio going, and there was a song in the background for like 30, 45 seconds. And so YouTube decided they wanted to flag it, right? Their algorithm, their almighty algorithm flagged it, you know, and I had to delete the video. Well, there will not be any of that on gunsandgearvids.com. Let's see. Michael Morris in the mid late 70s, we carried guns to school. That's right. They stayed in our trucks, and every truck in the parking lot had a gun rack with a 30-30 and a 12 gauge. You're dang straight, you know. When I went to school, even high school, I graduated in 1980 in Hickson, Tennessee, Hickson High School. You could probably go back, and if there was a picture of the vehicles in the parking lot, I guarantee you a third of them or half of them would be uh, trucks, pickup trucks, Ford pickup trucks with gun racks uh, behind the seat. There would be at least one gun there. And the joke of the day was to shoot a possum and throw it in the back of your truck or pick up a roadkill and run it up the flagpole. And that was the fun thing to do for the day. And there was no, it wasn't something that was egregious or, it wasn't terrorism. There were no lockdowns. There were more guns in the parking lot at my high school uh, than there were at the local Naval Reserve Center on Holtclaw Avenue, where the Naval Reserve Center was. That's probably a given. Now, what does Noob Mashta? Your connection is not secure. The owner, Guns and Gearvids, has configured their website improperly to protect your information from being stolen. Foxfire has not connected to this website. Well, duty. Oh, well. We have Nuba Mashta. We have like, I don't know, 100 and some odd people who have joined and who have uploaded videos. I'm there now. And, it's not perfect. As a matter of fact, I've asked people before if they have experience in that sort of thing in web security and servers, dedicated server, which we have. If they ever want to contact me, I'm actually looking for someone to help us out. possibly on a paid basis um, to do certain things with the server. So anyway, so George Geller says, I think Arson Tony needs to redo his SSL certificate. This sort of stuff is easy to misconfigure. Yes, ignore warning. Yeah, I mean, if you don't feel safe going to gunsandgearvids.com, don't go there. You know, maybe you'll feel safer going into your gang infested neighborhood where you live. Maybe that'll make maybe you feel safer there than you did going to gunsandgearvids.com. Only the bravest men will go to gunsandgearvids.com and post videos. It's a real challenge. It's a real, it takes real balls to go there. Uh, don't use a tech guy. I'm sure it's fine. I do need a tech guy because you're talking to a guy who knows how to design and build a building, but has no clue. Like I get these messages from my server that says you have, RPMs or whatever, blah blah blah. I get all these messages, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. The thing's still working. Uh, John Smith, I worked this job where men picked up dead skunks as roadkill. They used sticks as plastic bags. They would bring them in the backyard and toss them in the back trucks out of the bag. Well, skunks are one thing. Nobody would really mess with a skunk, but possums, you know, we had several possums run up the flagpole at my high school. Um, I don't think I ever remember seeing a skunk. They're stinky. Nobody wants to mess with a skunk. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because um, there are lots of people with good intentions who are trying to do decent things, who aren't like perfect or not like all knowing in the field. Like the internet is one of those things where, especially me, no matter how much I study or how much I research, I'll never be an expert in server management. You know, I have to trust certain people and certain websites and certain organizations to keep the thing secure. And as far as I know, it hasn't been hacked, but who knows, right? There could be some hacker, anonymous hacker, like Anon right now is probably using my server as a storage, basin for all their, exercises, or maybe someone's using my server to mine for bitcoins or something. I don't know. How would I know? You know, my my goal is my intent is a good, is a good. I have good intentions. That's all I can say. And I think in the end, the good intentions will win out. But who knows? Good gosh. Warning that blah 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 all means that you might be going to a fake spoofing website instead of the real Guns and Gear vids. The spoofing site probably wants to steal your login info anyway. Well, I don't know. Maybe as a user, but I'm pretty sure. I don't know. That means as if they're spoofing it as an administrator, that means they would have to have access to the back end and all that. That gets kind of complicated. Uh, George says, I used to do web servers, but it's become too much of a nightmare. So we went into a different line of work. It is a nightmare. And, for somebody like me who's just trying to provide a place for, Second Amendment lovers to be able to upload videos without being harassed by YouTube, that it's even more complicated. I have to, I have to rely on the people at HostGator, you know, to do what they say they're going to do because I pay them for a service of keeping the server secure. I have to rely on those people, and I'm paying a fee to keep the server secure. When I have other people telling me it's not, so who do you believe? Yeah, Firefox is just being overprotective. I love Firefox and I use it as my browser, but I have more trouble with the add-ons like the I don't know, the Java and the Adobe add-ons. You know, I don't know, but I'm still kind of a I don't know open source kind of guy. What would you say? Someone who loves Firefox is the guy who has bucked Internet Explorer since the day it was created. I remember at a high school when personal computers were actually first coming on to the market, and I remember the struggle, the fight. I used to fight, verbally daily, people who were Macintosh people, and we would, people who were Microsoft people would say, well, you know, we used to create batch files for our startup, uh, you know, in Microsoft, and Apple would lock that up. You couldn't do anything of the sort. So there was always this little battle between Microsoft and Apple going on, and I kind of see Firefox as the on the Apple side of it. I mean, I'm sorry, oops, Firefox being at least on the side of away from Safari. Well, it's kind of funny how there's always this sort of hidden battle going on between the browser ideologies, and so I just happened to end up with Firefox um, on that end of the spectrum, and not on the Apple end of the spectrum. So anyway, I don't know how this hangout has deteriorated to the point where we're talking about browsers, but we are. And I'm getting sleepy. Because I'm an old man and I get sleepy at 10 o'clock at night. It's funny because G-Webs and those guys will have gun channels. They'll have, you know, hangouts at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the hell? What are you guys doing up that late at night? So, but that's 3 my time. It's 12 o'clock or whatever, midnight their time. So in their defense, I will say that. So anyway, I guess I'll end it. It's been an hour and a half, I think. So I'll say that I appreciate everybody that has come um, on the YouTube side to make comments, and you can always reach me at tony@gunsandgearvids.com. Uh, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions ever with our website, and just remember, honestly, that it may have some flukes or it may not be perfect, but it is honestly a place where you will have the freedom to do what you want to do there, as long as you are good to other people. As long as you are a good person, you're honestly not going to get, censored there. I can promise you that. And again, thanks G Webs for uh, putting his gun shop reviews. If you go look, we made a category because I thought it was cool that he was doing the gun show loophole tour, which I actually supported. And if you go, you'll see gun shops as a category, and he's embedded in some of his videos there, which is pretty cool. I appreciate his support. We've been friends for a while, and he's been one of those people that's always supported my channel since it began back in 2006. By the way, we're going to be celebrating our 10 years on YouTube in November. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. But I digress there because I must return to my original intent, which was to pay respects to those who died on July 16th, 2015, at the Naval Reserve Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And God bless our servicemen, our vets, anyone who is entering uh, the service now, um, anyone who has ever fought. Um, I really appreciate you and honor you, and um, I think we should do all that we can for our vets, um, whatever we can do to help them, to honor them, to um, make their lives easier to live once they have exited the service, and even while they're in the service. So I'll end it there. And thanks for everyone for showing up. Thanks everyone for showing up and um, uh, putting up with my tired talk, my tired rambling. But I had the best intentions, and I thank everybody. And good night.